It's your dude, Tank Lipp, April 13th, 2022. So, I just did like a lot of things. I accomplished a lot of things in like kind of one moment or period of like whatever, a couple minutes, probably about 10 minutes, that I was doing something, like a lot of things accomplished. So, what was I doing? Well, first, let me give you a little brief background. I've been single, meaning no girlfriend, for 2 years now. She disappeared, my last girlfriend, before I became single. She disappeared around March 11th. I want to say, I guess if it's been 2 years, it must have been 2020. She did not even have the courtesy of breaking up with me. And she didn't even have the courtesy of saying goodbye. Like, she went off the air. For a couple days in a fashion that was like kind of unique for even her. It wasn't that she had never gone off the air, but I was like, something's not right. That week, actually, she, when we would talk on FaceTime, because she was living with her parents at their apartment when we weren't together, and she worked there from their house with a computer job, so she was doing that during the week, so she was there a lot. So I lived at my house, and we didn't always get together in person. I'm not saying this was like a pen pal relationship. I mean, she had lived with me at various times, and obviously we were in person together a lot. But in this last like stage or phase of the relationship, there was a good part of the week where we weren't together. So when we weren't together, we'd talk on FaceTime. And the last week of our relationship before she disappeared and completely went off the air, when we would talk on FaceTime, like it was glitching on some real weird shit. And I did have a suspicion that she was causing the glitch on the FaceTime for like some type of contrived story that was gonna happen that would explain her like eloping or something. But anyway, I was kind of paranoid about this glitching. I didn't think like the FaceTime call using an iPhone should have been causing this particular type of glitch that was being experienced. I kind of felt like she was doing something to make it happen, to tie into some other contrived story she was going to tell me why she was not accessible or whatever. And then later in the week, after this glitching was happening on the FaceTime, she even said something's wrong with her phone. And don't call her, don't get all worried. She's gonna be doing something to get her phone fixed. So when she was kind of off the air, like those couple of days before I realized she was just MIA, like literally missing in action, I was thinking like hold on a second. So, like, she said she had to get her phone fixed. So I didn't like completely panic when I didn't hear from her, because she kind of set it up that I was gonna think that it was something with her phone. Although I'm kind of a paranoid dude to begin with trust issues, which again could have contributed to the relationship not working out as well as maybe it could have otherwise worked out. So I do take the blame on that, because if someone feels compelled to leave you, it's because something's not working out. If it's not working out, some type of chemistry in the relationship is not right, and I think my paranoia has made me undesirable in many of my failed relationships. But the sad thing about this one is that, I mean, I really confided and was honest with her from the beginning about all my pains and traumas of failed relationships, and she seemed to really get it and kind of promised to never do what some of the other ones had done. And some of the other ones didn't maybe necessarily have the insight that this girlfriend had. Those just failed on their own. This one, I was like so hurt going into it. I was like, I don't know if I should go through with this relationship and like give you my heart, because my heart has been stomped on so many times. And she's like, no, you need to trust me. I've heard what's happened, and I'm not going to be like the other ones. 2 years later, she ends up doing me worse than the other ones, because at least the other ones broke up with me and said goodbye. This one just disappeared. So it turns out her phone's off like 2 or 3 days later. And so I'm like, okay, I can give it a day or two before I panic, but then that day or two goes by and her phone is still not on. She's not borrowing anyone's phone to call me or whatever. So finally, I guess after like a weekend that normally I would get together with her on the weekend, because she's working during the week and then coming and spending nights at my house on the weekend. So there was no spending the nights. I'm not hearing from her either. I give a little period of time where, okay, she's getting her phone fixed, but I should hear from her by Tuesday. So by Tuesday, I go to her parents' apartment and they're like, she moved out. She's not here anymore, and she hasn't told us anything other than we came home and she moved out. So according to her parents, which I don't necessarily believe this, I think they knew exactly where she went and that she was leaving me. But they were playing like dummies, like they didn't know anything more than that she had took her stuff. They didn't know where she went, etc., etc. So I'm like, wow. And that she changed her phone number, shut her phone off and got another phone number, which I wasn't given. And apparently they didn't know it either. They had just heard from her, like from an email is what they were saying. So this whole alleged thing of she's going to get her phone fixed, don't panic if I don't hear from her. She ends up changing her phone number, doesn't break up with me, doesn't say goodbye, but that was the goodbye that I'm supposed to interpret, is that this relationship is now over because she's changed her phone number. She don't want me to have her phone number. She don't want me to be her girlfriend. She don't want to see me. But I didn't actually get the courtesy of a real goodbye, or even the courtesy of saying, listen, things aren't working out for me. We need to break up. I didn't get that. And it was very traumatizing, and I didn't recover from this for a long time, and I still have a lot of wounds and scars from this. So from that point when she changed her number or disappeared, apparently she moved out on a Saturday, according to her parents. So that was March 11th of 2020. So we're in April of 2022 now. I've, by the way, still never heard from her. Like, I'm sorry I went off the air for the last couple years. Obviously, we're done, but this is what happened. I never got a phone call again. She's never gone in touch with me. Literally, sometime near March 11th of 2020 is the last time I ever heard from her on one of those phone calls where she was prepping me that something weird was going to happen with her phone. But it was actually her shutting her phone off, changing her number, and moving out of her parents' apartment, never for me to know her location. So never got a goodbye, never broke up with me. Now it's 2 years later. So for a year, I didn't even want to go on like any dating sites. I've been estranged from most of my friends. I'm pretty isolated. COVID kind of made a lot of people experience what I was experiencing in my life for the last 10 years, just like isolation and alienation, where like the life I knew of tons of friends and everyone gets older and gets married and has kids and no longer fits you in their schedule, or people just don't want to be your friend anymore. Some people I didn't want to be friends with because I was changing in my life and certain dynamics weren't working for me. But I don't really get out to too many social situations, so I can't really meet girls through like hanging out with friends. No one's recommending, hey, go date Tank Lipp. I'm not getting those kind of favors. So I'm one of those dudes that uses dating sites, which I didn't allow myself to use for about a year after she went missing. So was single that whole year, but didn't even want to date. Like, that's how fucked up I was. And then finally went on the dating site, but I started believing my dating site was rigged. Go figure, another like paranoid conspiracy theory. But I'm like, okay, I know I'm not the most attractive dude ever created in mankind, and I know I got a lot of quirks and issues, but in my younger years, I had plenty of success with dating sites, maybe not having the best relationships a person could have, but I met girlfriends through dating sites. I hooked up with plenty of chicks through dating sites. I'm like, it's never really been that hard for me to meet people. But what I'm experiencing at this point is like, I can't even get chicks to meet me on the same sites that I was able to get more success in past years. I don't know if that's just what happens from like age 25 versus when you're 42 using the sites. People raise their standards or something. So now me being like an average catch, I'm now even less than a mediocre catch. Now they've raised their standards. So some chicks that gave me the time of day now, those same types won't even give me the time of day. I don't know what it is. I really started believing, based on a lot of dynamics in my sites and censorship on the internet, and it's kind of like everything I'm navigating in my life, internet-wise, seems to have like I'm on a block, quote-unquote block avenue, some types of blocks and everything. So I'm like, wow, now it's filtered into the dating sites too. I'm either talking to everyone, some type of scam artist, and now tons of people are even on that wavelength, like it's all scams on there. So I'm not even really the only one experiencing that, but I'm like, there's still gotta be real chicks that actually want to meet you, right? And I'm just not having any luck. Like the whole year, maybe when I finally started using it, maybe met like 2 or 3 people. None of them were catches as far as my standards, and I'm also at a point in my life where like I've raised my standards, even though I'm not necessarily more of a catch than other years. I still kind of like, okay, that chick, I've been there, done that road, not really want to waste my time with that anymore. So part of it's me too. But overall, I'm feeling like something's rigged and blocked on the dating sites, but like rigged. Like someone doesn't want Tank Lipp to date. They want me to be stuck in my isolation without the perk of being able to meet a girl and either hook up on a Friday night or Saturday night or have a relationship. Like, they want me to just be alone. This is like my thought patterns based on my interactions using the dating sites. So, not to put all my laundry out there, but I'll just, at this point, I've kind of surrendered with some of my conspiracy theories and paranoia. I used to not want to put all my thoughts regarding my paranoias and my theories with that, my paranoias out for people to now be able to know how I'm thinking about what I'm going through. But I'll just put it out there, like the info this time, because that's like, I've just kind of surrendered and accepted I'm not meeting anyone. So in the past, when going through this paranoid shit, I might not have wanted you to know which dating sites I'm going to use and put a video on YouTube about which sites I'm using, because I'm like, wow, now I just ran into the enemy's arms and told them, come find me on this site and fuck with me and rig my shit and catfish me. But it seems like I'm always getting catfished, so I don't care at this point if you know where to find me, because maybe you'll find me and want to just fucking meet up, and that'll be better than what I'm getting. But so I'm using like POF and Tinder, that kind of stuff, right? Those seem to be a little easier than some of the other sites. I'm not about paying for shit. I mean, now it's starting to seem like they want you to pay for Tinder and they want you to pay for POF. And if you're not a paying user or member, they actually maybe do rig your shit to make it where you pay so that it's easier to use the sites. That might be what I'm experiencing. That could be the answer to why this is going on. Not that someone's actually hacking me, but the site in general is just not as easier to use. I don't know. Maybe I'm less desirable than I was when I was younger. That could be true too. So I'm like so fed up with this shit. After the first year, I didn't use the sites after she left me, and then I started using it the last year, and I've gotten nowhere. And no fun to say, oh, well, I had a couple of fun nights. There's really been like no fun nights to recall. I'm just like, how can I vent my anger about this? So I found this funny today. This is what I was talking about, that I accomplished a lot of things all at once. First of all, I had some clarity on the whole rigging of the site. Now, what I did was, the other thing, other than get clarity, is I empowered myself. I felt very empowered by doing the following. I actually swiped left on Tinder about 500 times, and it felt so fucking damn good. Because sometimes all I'll do is swipe right till they stop it, my ability to swipe. And then you have to go through a certain amount of time till you can start swiping again. Like, they let you swipe right on like 20 chicks, and then you gotta wait like 8 hours till you can use it again. So I do the first 20 chicks, I'll swipe all right and hope I get some kind of match. And more times than not, I get nothing, and then I gotta wait 8 hours, swipe again, still get nothing. I'm like, wow. But I had noticed dynamics of the pictures of the people in their profiles. And I'm like, and it's not that they're like not attractive. They're actually most of the time like supermodel types. And that's not really a good fit for me, because, you know, I'm not a model type. I'm just a kind of average dude. I mean, my mind is like above and beyond most people, and I think I have a pretty awesome personality. I'm obviously very outgoing and outspoken and know how to articulate what I'm thinking and communicate. So my communication skills, I mean, it is what it is, how I look. I've actually been more overweight at other points in my life, so I would think now that I've lost some weight, I would do better. Plus, I'm more mature, but I actually do worse than I did when I was younger. But so I thought it was rigged, and I've been thinking I'm not really being given the dating pool of the chicks that are really good matches for me. But I didn't know for sure, because I only see 20 people at a time, because I'm always swiping right. So today I decided to like be a little more picky and swipe left. And the more I was, and I'm telling you, I must have swiped left like a 500 times, so it lets me keep going because they don't stop you until you've reached a certain swipe right limit of like 20 people. But if you keep swiping left, it lets you stay on until you get the people you want to match with. So I must have swiped by the time it was all said and done like about 500 times, and it felt damn fucking good. Like, fuck no, I'm not taking you. Like, this is my turn to be picky. Instead of chicks not wanting to match with me, I'm like, nope, you're not good. Left, haha, ugly, left. Now, you seem like a scam, left. And I'm going on, but the more I go on, I'm like, wow. They are really giving me no, because I'm like, I'll swipe right if it seems like someone I want to be with. And I'm telling you, 500 times I went left. Like, they were giving me no one that would be like who I would say is my type or who I want to match with. And what I accomplished was I'm like, this shit is rigged. There is something rigged about this setup that the Tinder app I'm using is no good or it's rigged. Tinder is just rigged in general, and I'm not meant to find someone on here. And I understand it's a hookup site and not the best place to go for a relationship. But I'm like saying, I'm matched with no one. I don't even get anyone to message because no one is swiping right on me. And the more I swipe left and disapprove to chicks, I'm like, yeah, this is just a garbage dating pool. So, I don't know, I had some clarity on it. I guess at the end of the day, it felt damn good to fucking finally be swiping left instead of always swipe right. Because every time I swipe 20 times, I'm swiping people. I'm like, I already know. It's almost gotten to a point where I know I'm not a good match for the person. I'm just curious to see, will they match with me? Will they swipe right on me too? And so I'm very generous with my right swipes. And today I did it the way, like if I was really serious about finding the right person to be hanging out with, I didn't allow myself to swipe right unless they met some kind of criteria that I was thinking based on their looks. Like, am I really attracted to that person, or would I not want to be with them? Does their profile seem like something that I would match with, or am I just swiping right to swipe right? And also, do they seem like a good person, or do they actually look like it's some kind of scam? So I was looking at it with like kind of 3 criteria models, and I'm telling you, they gave me a dating pool of like 500 garbage people, and I felt so damn good swiping left for once. And that's basically my story for the day. I mean, that coupled with giving you the history of why I'm now single and on a dating site, because she disappeared, and in the fashion she disappeared, and what dynamics were going on there with her not even saying goodbye or breaking up with me, like none of those common courtesies. So, but I guess I've arrived at a healthier place from the trauma and pain of someone leaving you like that, and it doesn't hurt as bad now. Like, at least, like, I have some peace and I'm somewhat content.